That doesn't make sense. You have to have something to separate them.
No. I'm not saying that.
Okay,
All I'm saying is we can't sit here and say, oh, well, Stockton was a winner and this guy was a winner. My thing is in this position, Kid had pretty much the same career path as CP3. Kid wasn't winning shit. He got one on the way out with the Dallas Mavericks. So all I'm saying is, if we're going to have this same energy about CP3, have that same energy about Kid, have that same energy about Stockton, have that same energy about
Kid. On the big stage, they performed well. Kid went to 2 championships with the Nets and played well, but they were just outmatched by Shaq.
Right.
A loss is a loss. Y'all are putting too much.
I don't agree with that, and here's why. You can go in and you can lose the fucking Super Bowl like Stan Humphries and the Chargers did and get blown out by 35. Or you can go in and play like Jake Delhomme and lose by a field goal. There is substance in the loss and how you perform.
Wait, hold on. You
on the big stage, that is something.
Oh my gosh! And you're a coach saying this? The overall outcome is a loss.
This has nothing to do with the team losing. This has to do with the individual performance on a big stage when you're trying to rank someone.
What is it
time?
Hold on. What is it equal? If you hold on, all 3 of us on a basketball team.
Go ahead.
And we're all talking about, and people on the outside are talking about our legacies.
Mm-hmm.
I perform well. Detroit Mel performs like trash.
Mm-hmm.
Nick is consistent. He's all right. But at the end of the day, all of us together equals a loss
as a team.
But we're not ranking.
We start breaking down individual players. You're gonna say, okay, let me say, all right, Earl Campbell.
Hold on. Y'all talking about
we're just talking about how do you separate. Okay, we're not ranking teams.
I'm
players.
I'm not talking about the team, but I know that the success is on a team sport. All these are team sports.
Yeah.
Every sport we talk about is a damn near team sport, but off that. All I'm saying is
golf, motherfucker.
You're putting too much emphasis on performance, as in it didn't equate to nothing. It equates to a loss. The end result is a loss. If you play well and you lose, you lose. If you play poorly and you lose, you lose. The end result is a loss.
Argument count for LeBron. We talk about Jordan.
It's the same reason. I can't put somebody who lost 6 times on the big stage ahead of somebody who never lost. It does count. That's the biggest argument. Like LeBron lost on the big stage as many times as Jordan won. When you're breaking down individual players, you look at their stats for their career. Then you also look how they performed individually because you're looking at the individual. We're not ranking all-time teams. Otherwise, we could put the Sacramento Kings up there with Bibby and Weber and those guys, but they never won a goddamn thing. But they performed well enough to take that Laker team to 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we're going just by win-loss, Robert Horry is one of the greatest small forwards of all time.
Right.
But we don't because he doesn't have the regular season resume to go with the playoff performance resume. His playoff performance resume is great. Baseball. We don't put Bernie Williams as one of the greatest center fielders of all time. But in the playoffs, Bernie Williams is one of the greatest center fielders of all time. You can perform well in a team sport and individually have good statistics and not shit the bed like Paul did in the finals. Stockton's number 1 all-time in assists. Stockton's number 1 all-time in steals. Stockton performed well in 2 finals playoff runs.
But what did it equate to? What did it equate to, Nick? What did his performance equate to in the playoffs? What did it equate?
Getting better than CP3?
Getting outmatched by a better team. He didn't shit the bed. Stockton did not shit the bed though.
It didn't equate to a championship. So hold on. If your playoff performances are so elite, it should help you get to a championship. But did it?
I didn't say so elite.
No.
He didn't shit the bed. Paul shit the bed in the finals.
I agree with you. He shit the bed. But the fact of the matter is, his bad performance equated to the same thing of a good performance that John Stockton did, which is what? A loss.
When you want to rank them against one another, you have to factor in their performances on the biggest stage. That's the most important part of the sport. I don't give a shit if you get 23 assists in December. It doesn't fucking mean anything to me. If Chris Paul played great in that finals and they lost, I'd be saying the same thing about him I said about Stockton. But I'm not, because on the biggest stage, he couldn't fucking do it.
I'm just using what y'all you're saying.
Okay, it equates to nothing. It all equates to nothing. They lost.
You just being stubborn, man. You just being stubborn.
The point in sports is to win championships.
I don't disagree with
correct.
that. No, neither one of us disagree.
So if you're saying the point is correct to win championships, the playoff performances Stockton has equates to nothing.
Because you are looking at
because you're trying to dismiss it to
no, I'm not dismissing it. The fact of the matter is you're only looking at the fact that Chris Paul had bad playoff performances and John Stockton had great playoff performances, and it's like
never said great. I just said he didn't shit the bed. That's the difference.
All I'm saying,
equate the bad.
No.
I mean, Stockton did average over 10 assists per game all time in his career in the playoffs. I think Paul's down at 8. Paul has had a drop off in playoff games than he does in the regular season.
I bring him up all the time too,
factors
man.
In.
I bring him up all the time too.
I don't rank Dan Marino because I don't fuck it. I mean, great actor, was fantastic in Ace Ventura. But when you look at Dan Marino, you say about Dan Marino, greatest pure passer we ever saw, was never able to win the big one.
Right.
Had a lot of awful playoff performances. Chris Paul is Dan Marino. They can have all the stats. They can have all of the elite. John Stockton is the same with Chris Paul. They're 1-2 in assists. Stockton is 1 in steals. When you point guards back then, steal, pass. That's what they did. Hit some mediocre jump shots when they doubled Karl Malone on the pick and roll. You never looked for Stockton to be your leading scorer. He was the facilitator. He ran the offense. He made some smart defensive plays. Chris Paul has never done that for me in the playoffs. I've never watched a Chris Paul performance in the playoffs and said, this guy is one of the best I've ever seen. Just haven't done it. I can't see how you rank Paul above Stockton when Stockton has the better resume with multiple NBA Finals appearances, a better performance in the finals, and better statistics in the regular season all time. I can't see how you put Paul above. That's like putting Marino above Montana. You're doing it off of flash, but there's no substance to it.
I'm not doing off of flash. Look,
you had to find a way to put that in, didn't you, Nick?
Here it is. You want to look at playoff performances? Let's look at the averages. Chris Paul averaged 20 points in the playoffs. Stockton averaged 13.4.
Stockton was never a scorer.
Hold on.
Let me finish.
Okay. I looked it up already. Why do you think I didn't mention that? Points
goes to Chris Paul. John Stockton on average turned the ball over more than Chris Paul in the playoffs. They got the same average in steals. Now assists, 10.1 to 8.3. That's the only thing you're talking about a difference in John Stockton over Chris Paul in the playoffs. What else? Free throw percentage goes to Chris Paul. 3-point percentage goes to Chris Paul. So field goal percentage goes to Chris Paul. You keep talking about these playoff performances like John Stockton was so above and beyond than Chris Paul, but look at their averages. There's more categories that Chris Paul is performing better than John Stockton. But y'all for the last 30 minutes, you'll be like, Chris Paul is shit the bed in the playoffs. Look at the averages. They're averaging, if not the same, Chris Paul is averaging better than John Stockton. So I can't believe y'all really went 30 minutes to talk about how bad in the playoffs Chris Paul has been, but his numbers is on par with John Stockton. And I can't believe y'all just been blowing John Stockton this long for the last playoff performances, and lo and behold, Chris Paul is if not
like I said before,
John Stockton, if not better.
Let's look at some of the years that John Stockton had though in playoff performances.
I can't believe
assists per game in the playoffs: 14.8, 13.7, 15, 13.8. John Stockton had elite performances in playoff runs.
I thought you said it wasn't elite. Now you're saying elite. Now a minute ago you need to say
as a passer, he's an elite passer. But I'm not saying he's.
Hey man, let's move on because y'all can't believe y'all just did that. Y'all two.
No, but wait a minute.
Y'all two just did that. I can't believe y'all two just did that.
Let me say this. My point wasn't even about a particular player better than Paul. My point was if you're looking at just opposing two players against each other, what do you use as a litmus test to see who's better than in the other one? That's all I was saying.
Yeah, you look at their numbers. Look at their numbers.
All right. So my thing is, let's say you with your argument is right about the statistics. But let's say my point is, if he shit the bed, another player don't shit the bed, you go with the player who played better in the playoffs because of the fact that's the only thing that's different. And you kept saying, but they ain't win nothing.
Hold on.
You kept saying they ain't win that.
You just said if they shit the bed, and y'all kept saying that CP3 shit the bed in the playoffs. Okay. And I just gave you.
But that wasn't your point, though. Your point was.
Hold on. I compared him to a person that y'all said performed great in the playoffs all the time. And it's John Stockton. His numbers are damn near the same, if not better. How is that Chris Paul shit in the bed?
But like I said.
Oh no! Don't do that! Don't you do that, man! Don't you do that?
No, don't you do that? I'm speaking to your argument. I'm not saying I'm speaking to your argument. That's all I'm saying. Your argument was championships. I said championships don't always amount to saying better than others.
No, hold on, man.
That's your rebuttal. Let me say that's your rebuttal.
No, my rebuttal is y'all saying that Chris Paul shit the bed in playoff performance.
Oh, don't you do that. Now, don't you do that.
No, that's what y'all said.
That's not what you said.
No, that is no. I said.
Okay.
I said.
I got to
agree with y'all.
I'll rewind. I got to take.
He didn't win championships and didn't perform to the expectations that we all thought that he should have to win a championship. I agree with y'all on that. Okay. But what I'm saying is, if that's y'all definition of him shitting the bed, and y'all comparing him to, and y'all said like other players like John Stockton never shit the bed in the playoffs, his numbers in the playoffs averages are just the same.
Finals is what we said. Don't change it. Don't change the conversation.
The finals are the playoffs. Come on, Nick. Don't do that, dog.
But we're talking about on the biggest stage. And you're trying to twist and twerk the conversation to fit your agenda instead of just being open-minded about it and just flat out saying Chris Paul he underperformed from his career stats in the finals. In the finals, he averaged 8.2 assists per game, which is over an assist lower than his regular season average. His turnovers per game were 3.5, which is higher than his regular season average. So in the finals, on the biggest stage, which we're using to differentiate two very similar regular season players, you go to the biggest stage and say, how did they perform when it mattered most? His numbers drop.
No, you're moving the goalpost. We said playoffs. Now you're saying
moving the goalpost. I'm finding a differential point between two very statistically similar players.
No, you're moving the goalpost. You have to do. We always said playoffs to begin with. Now you're saying finals. CP3 went to the finals.
And there's no way you can have Chris Paul in your top five. You got to have Magic. You got to have Curry. You got to have Isaiah. You can't have Paul in your top five if you're putting weight on rings.
I didn't put weight on wings. I said you guys are putting too much emphasis on playoff performances when I just proved to y'all that playoff performances, CP3 is on average with the guys that y'all keep saying are performing.
What we both said, though.
Oh my God, that's not what you said.
Okay. We both said, how do you perform on the biggest stage in the finals?
We've always said playoffs. Now you're saying finals. So now again, you're moving the goal.
To differentiate him and Stockton, yes. In that individual matchup, you gotta look for
so you're comparing two NBA finals to one appearance. Go ahead. It didn't make your point. Go ahead.
I don't know why you can't be receptive to this. Like,
no, I am being receptive.
They're 1-2 all-time in assists. Right?
Hey, sir. I'm giving you the floor to make your point. Two playoff appearances, two finals appearances by John Stockton, comparing it to the one NBA final. Go ahead. And then make your point.
Paul's numbers went down in the finals based off.
Make your point. Make your point.
Do it.
Get to your point. One NBA final appearance by Chris Paul compared to the two NBA finals by John Stockton. Make your point.
That's the point right there.
No, that's not the point. You talking about all this other shit. I don't care that his finals turnover or assists went down from the regular season. I ain't talking about that. I said compare the finals appearance, the numbers from CP3 to the two finals appearance.
You're being like Bobby Miller though right now.
No,
you don't want to hear shit that you don't like.
You're bringing up other shit that doesn't matter right now. Get to the point.
I disagree.
All right, let's move on. We ain't getting to the bottom of this.
No. Let Nick make his point.
When you compare Stockton and Paul, who are very similar with their careers. I'm looking at how can I separate these two when I'm ranking them.
Hey, Nick, we know this. Would you just blurt out the numbers and get
I'm good, man. I'm done. I can't even fucking get a sentence out without you jumping down my throat.
Because you're beating around the bush.
Because you're not listening to it. It's a simple discussion.
Lay out your stats. No, it's because you're giving us fluff right now. Like, get to your point. Get to your point.
All right, Lamar Paul, because you're acting like you're in Chris Paul's family. I'm done with it. I'm done.
I just want you to get to your point.
I'm trying to, but I'm not going to do it when I'm getting jumped down my throat to get cut off every time.
They're so similar in this and that, and like, just say it. Get to it.
I'm good.
All right, man. Come on, Lamar. Let's move the conversation to something else. Come on.
Oh, no, don't be bitter now, Nick. Come on, man.
Bitter?
I'm not, but I'm not going to try to talk and get jumped down my throat before I can make 2 sentences. I'm good.
Nick, all I'm asking you to do is stop giving us fluff talk and say your numbers and get to the point. I don't need a monologue to make your point. That's all I'm saying.
All right, you made it. Move on.
Oh, the Jets fan is hurt now. Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Don't you have to dance to Matt stripping?